So you want to quit your 9-to-5 job, you want to start a business. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some frameworks and some tools so that you can understand whether right now is the right time for you to take that leap of faith and go on your own and start your own business and leave the security of a 9-to-5 role behind. There's 3 things that we're going to look at, and then we're going to give you a score. And your score is going to basically determine how risky moving your 9-to-5 or leaving your 9-to-5 role is. And it allows it to be very personalized to your individual scenario as well. So I'm going to cover the 3 things first, then we're going to look at that scoring system, and then we're going to look at a few different business models that might be beneficial and a few things that you need to look out for when you're making this transition from 9-to-5 world to owning your own business. There's 3 numbers that you really need to be concerned about. Number 1 is how much money do you need each month to survive? This is different from how much money you're making right now in your 9-to-5 role, or it might be the same, it might be different, but the number is how much money do I need as a minimum in order to survive? Let's say, for example, you earn 5K per month, but your total outgoings, rent, mortgage, car payments, whatever it may be, comes to 3K per month. So the minimum that you need in order to survive is 3K. So that's the first number that we need to bear in mind, is that 3K per month is the minimum amount of money we need to earn in order to be able to ultimately live. The second number that we need to be really conscious of is all about time. And it comes down to your savings, or what I call your cash reserves. We want to know how many months you're able to survive by taking your minimum amount that you need to survive, which in this scenario is 3K, and how much cash reserves you have. So if you have, say, 9K in cash reserves and you have 3K in minimum living expenses, then you have a 3-month run rate. So we need to calculate your run rate, which is how much cash do you have divided by what is your minimum monthly spend. And that gives you your monthly run rate. And the problem that I see quite often is people are just looking at the cash amount and they're saying, well, that sounds like a lot of money, or it seems like a lot of money. I think that's okay. But we need to work out how many months that you have, how much time you have in order to replace your 9-to-5 income. Because when we're starting out in business, you're not going to replace your income, or very rarely do you replace your 9-to-5 income straight away. There's going to be that kind of learning curve, so to speak. So that's the second metric, is what is your run rate? And then the third metric really looks at your risk tolerance, because I'm a firm believer that if possible, you should be starting your business while you still have a 9-to-5 career. And doing it, instead of being 9-to-5, you're doing it from 5 to 9. And there's lots of ways that we can do this now. And this video isn't really about how you can start a business while you're in your 9-to-5 career. If you do want to find out about that, then just leave me a comment below and I can create another video on that. But the metric that we're looking at is how many months have you been running your kind of side business, which it is at the moment. How many months have you been running this side business whilst earning the minimum amount of money that you need to earn each month in order to survive? So we talked about the example of 3K. How many months have you been running your side business at 3K for? It might be 0. And if it's 0, that's still absolutely fine. But if you've been doing it for a month and you've hit 3K, if you've been doing it for 2 months or 3 months or however long, that's another important metric. And once we've got these metrics, we can then start to calculate your individual specific score. And the score is going to allow you to understand whether or not now is the right time to step away from your 9-to-5 role. And the score is not set in stone. Some people have higher risk tolerances. Some people have lower risk tolerances. If you are 17 years old and you're living at home with your parents and you don't have that much money, you don't have any dependables, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have kids, etc., then your risk tolerance can be higher. If you've got kids, if you're the sole provider, if you've got a mortgage to pay, all that stuff, then obviously maybe your risk tolerance is going to be a little bit lower. But this score is going to give you a good indication of whether now is the right time and what you might need to work on before you do pull the trigger and step away from that 9-to-5 career. So what we need to do is we need to take your run rate in terms of number. So it might be, let's say 3. So run rate, remember, is how much cash reserves do I have divided by what's the minimum amount of money I need each month in order to live. Let's say we've got 9K in cash and we need 3K per month. So we've got 3 months worth of run rate. That's our first number, is 3. And then the next number is how long have I been earning this minimum amount for in my kind of side hustle, I guess you could call it at the moment, while you're still running your business. And that number might be 0, it might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3, it might be 6, it might be 12. But we need to multiply those numbers together. If you've got, say, a 3-month run rate and you've got a 0, the answer is going to be 3, not 0. If you multiply 0 by 3, you're going to get 0, but it is 3 in this example. It's not a flawless equation, but it is something that is going to really help. So if you are at, I would say, 10 and above, I think right now is time to start that business. If you are maybe between 7, 8, or 9, then maybe you want to work on a few things before you actually make that leap of faith. If you, for example, are watching this and you've got high cash reserves and you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 months worth of run rate, then you don't need to worry about starting the business while you're working 9 to 5. Perhaps you have enough comfort in order to be able to start and leave your 9 to 5. If maybe you have a small amount of cash. Maybe you have $1,000, but you're watching this, you live at home with your parents, or your rent is extremely cheap, or you don't have any rent. But let's say you're like 17 years old, you're living at home with your parents, you don't have any outgoings, but you've got $1,000 saved up. You're going to be a 10 because you haven't got any outgoings, you've got money saved in the bank. The risk for you is extremely low. So you're going to have higher than a 10 maybe. If you've got $50 a month coming out of your account for a phone bill and you've got $1,000 saved up, your run rate is 20 months. So your score is 20. So it's above 10. You should jump in and start. This gives you an idea of, what your score is. And if you are maybe below 7, then look at how you can increase that number. Do you increase your cash reserves? Do you decrease your living expenses? Do you start the business while you're still working your 9 to 5 and you can do it from 5 to 9? So there's a few levers that you can pull in order to increase your score. And when you get that score to 10, in my humble opinion, that's when you should pull the trigger, take the leap of faith and walk out from your 9 to 5 role. The score is just something that I think can be really helpful and give you some direction and make that decision easier, because it is a daunting decision and you are leaving the so-called comfort of a 9 to 5 role. Personally, I think 9 to 5 role is actually riskier than a business, but that's a different topic for a different video. And once we've got that scoring system, you might be sat here thinking like, okay, cool, I'm a 7, I'm an 8, I'm a 9, I'm a 10, whatever it may be, and I'm kind of ready, but I don't really know what to do. So again, this video is not all about like, this is what you should do, because I do think it differs for a lot of people. But for 99% of people, I strongly believe that the right business model is a service-based business, because it requires no or very low capital. And when I say a service-based business, I definitely mean an online service, and some form of agency is, in my opinion, the best business model to start with. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Is you want to be online, you don't want to be tied to a location, and you want to be selling something that people want to buy. Every business out there needs customers. And if you can help businesses get customers, they will gladly pay you money. And it is the business model that I first started with, and it is the business model that I have stuck with for the past 7 years, because it is just easy to run. It's very cash flow positive. It allows you to bridge that gap from what you're earning now to what you're going to be earning in your entrepreneurial journey. It allows you to bridge that gap very quickly. You don't need stock. You don't need loads of different things. It's just really simple and straightforward to set up. So some form of service-based agency, in my opinion, is great. And there's a little thing that I call the double whammy. And look at it this way. I'll explain the double whammy by kind of explaining what it is, and it's probably the easiest way to describe it. So let's say, for example, you open up a bakery and you've got goals and dreams and aspirations of having the best bakery in town or the best restaurant in town, whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter. There's 2 things that you need, well, a minimum of 2, but 2 really important skills that you need to develop in order to have a really successful bakery. The first one is you need to know how to bake really good bread. You need to know how to become a really good baker. And the second thing that you need to learn is how to get customers. And you have to, as a successful business owner, understand that your business is not solely about baking bread, but it's also about selling bread. It's about marketing and selling. And that means that you have 2 really important tasks, and you have to split your time between those 2 things: getting good at being a baker, getting good at selling, getting good at running a restaurant, good at selling, good at marketing, becoming the best dentist, good at selling, good at marketing, whatever it may be. You've got to get good at the 2 skills. Now, a double whammy is when you only have to get good at one skill, just one. And when you, instead of putting 50% of your energy over here into becoming the best baker and 50% here, and then you come up against somebody that has a double whammy and they can put 100% of their attention into just growing their business, who's going to have the kind of more successful business? The person that puts 50% of their energy and their time and their focus into growing a business, or the person that puts 100% of their time into growing their business? It's going to be the person that puts 100% of their time. There's going to be outliers, but generally that's the case. But how is that possible? Well, it's possible when you run an agency, and the way that you sign clients, the way that you get your clients for your business is the exact same way that you service your clients. So to give you an example, in my business, I help agencies get clients through cold email marketing, and I get my clients through cold email marketing. So the better I get at signing clients for my own business, the better I get at delivering the service to my clients. And so I only have to focus on growing my business, and that's going to give me everything I need to serve my clients well. If I had to focus on growing my business, and then learn how to bake bread, I'm now diverting my attention, my time, my energy, and it makes my journey so much longer. So you want to look for a business model where you get that double whammy, where you only have to focus on one thing. And the way that you sign clients is the exact same way that you deliver your service. It doesn't have to be cold email. It can be SEO. It can be through paid ads. It can be through a whole multitude of things. But the better that you get at building your own business has a direct correlation to how well you're able to serve your clients. And it's a really positive feedback loop that just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, because you get so good at finding clients, you get so good at delivering results that it helps you sign more clients, helps you get better results, and the thing just starts to snowball. So you want to look for what I call that double whammy business model. And there's lots of them out there. That's pretty much it. We've basically covered quite a lot in this video. The 3 numbers that you need to look at, your score, and then you want to look for a business model that hopefully doesn't need to, but it's best if it has that double whammy factor. I hope this video has been useful. It's been beneficial. Hope you got value from it. And if you do take that leap of faith, I wish you all the best.